Biggest mistake first-time founders make is don't create a solution in search of a problem. Create a solution for a problem. I've done this many, many times myself. I literally have a graveyard full of ideas, tons of domain names with apps built around them that nobody wanted. Founders will spend months, again, I've done it many times, building something, thinking that this is going to be the solution to everybody's problem. Everybody's going to want to use it. And then at the end of the day, after they've done all this work, they find out that actually nobody really wants it at all. You know, a good rule of thumb is this an application that's either going to save money or save time? That's sort of the best way to gauge whether there's some potential. And it's hard to do. And probably the best way to do that is to start with something, a problem that you have, and create an app that's solving that particular problem. Could be something that you just do on a daily basis, and you create an app to simplify that process or just to make it easier or more interesting. And then chances are, if it works for you, it's probably going to work for someone else as well. And then you can scale it out from there. Now, I mean, it is possible to, some people have the ability to actually come up with an idea, a product or service that people don't think that they want, but then they actually do. But this is incredibly difficult. I mean, Steve Jobs is probably an example of someone who did this, in the 70s and early 80s. Nobody knew that they wanted a home PC. And later on with the iPhone, nobody knew that they wanted a computer on their phone that could do all these things. But he knew that, and he created a product, and it worked, and people wanted it. But that's an incredibly rare feat, and I'd say the vast majority of people can't do that. So it's always just, I think, sticking with a solution to a problem. And also, it's really important to stick with what you know as well. Stick in an area, stick in a lane that you understand. A business that you're in, a hobby that you have, something like that. Don't try to create a solution for a problem in an industry or an area or a niche that you don't really understand. So for example, if you've got a great idea or you think a great idea for a social media application or something to work with social media apps, but you don't use social media very much, chances are you're not going to connect on that and it's not going to work. So it's really important to stick with what you know. And once you've done that, the key to finding out if it's going to work is to build an MVP, a minimum viable product, as quickly as you can. And this was much more difficult even up to a year ago. And this is where AI really comes into it, because in the past, like for example, if I had an idea, I would put together this, and I'm an okay coder. I'm not a great one, but good enough that I could kind of piece it together, maybe get some help from an outside developer to do parts of it. It would still take months probably to do. And then you find out that it doesn't work. But now with AI, it's all about speed to market, how fast you can put it together. You can literally, if you have an idea, you can turn it into a working product in days, if not hours. And the advantage of this is that, the cost to experiment is so low that you can just do it so fast. So you can find out very quickly if there is, some potential to do that. And the other thing too is, before you look for investors, which is something you're probably going to do, it's if you really want to scale it out, find customers. Just find one person that actually wants to use this product or service. Because if you can find one, then maybe you can find two, and then maybe you can find four, and then you can scale it from there. The rate of growth is the most important thing. And that's what investors really want to see when you start looking for capital and trying to raise it. So show that rate of growth, but just find one customer and don't be pressured. And I've done this many times myself where, before you even have a single customer, you're already thinking about like, well, gee, this is really cool. I built it and it's kind of working. Well, but this is kind of a small market that I'm going after. Maybe I could broaden it. And instead of just going after this one area, maybe I can do like an application for it that will appeal to everybody. And you start trying to build it out, trying to create the next sort of global core kind of corporation with limitless potential. But it just never works that way. You've got to start small and find that one customer, just one, that, and it can't be like, your mom or your brother or your sister. It's got to be someone outside of your circle that actually wants to use it. And that really is how it starts. all the big companies, whether it's Facebook or Airbnb, any of these guys, they all started small. Facebook just started on one campus, and then it worked there. And then when it worked there, they went to campuses after that. Airbnb was similar. They started with like one neighborhood, and then they expanded to more neighborhoods, and they could see that it worked. And then you can start scaling out. But you've got to start small in a focus market and see if it works first. Don't try to take on the world all at once. This is really going to be the key. So again, make sure that you come up with a solution to a problem, not a solution in search of a problem, and find that first customer. Just build something as quickly as you can and test it. Get it out that you can do it really fast with AI right now, and you'll save so much time and you'll have so much more luck with any investor that you want to put this in front of, which is typically going to be your friends and family type level. But you've got to do that first, and believe me, you'll save yourself just a ton of time.